Remember the classic story about a bumbling old gray-haired geriatric pseudoscientist who lived in isolation and everyone laughed at him and thought he was crazy? But then the old crazy guy invented time travel and took us all on a ride. No, we're not talking about Doc Brown from Back to the Future. We're talking about President Joe Biden, and he's not taking us back to the idyllic year of 1955. No, Joe Biden's taking us back to 1975. Hop on into the Build Back Better DeLorean, kids. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Oh, and we have no gas. But if you need some plutonium, you can check with the Iranians. We're planning on funding Iran again, in case you didn't know. They will have plenty of radioactive material soon. So why is your tax dollars going to fund the largest sponsor of terror in the world? Well, because Joe Biden is indeed putting us into a time machine and taking us backwards. The worst days in America are right ahead of us. Biden's even hanging out with Honey, I Shrunk the Kids version of Jimmy Carter in order to figure out how to get us back to the 70s as fast as possible. Seriously, what's wrong with this photo? The longer you look at it, it gets worse. Can we do a quick meme break, guys? Can we do a meme break? Can we do, I need some memes of this creepy photo. Yes, Elf. Honey, we shrunk the Carters. That's correct. Rick Moranis in the wall. Yeah, that's right. What a weird photo. Are they little people? Do they live in a tree? Do they make cookies? What is this? Guys, studio, anyone? No one can help me. I don't know. I wouldn't eat a Jimmy Carter elf cookie because the last time Jimmy Carter fed this nation anything, it was communism, socialism, and a destroyed country. That's right, and that's what we're getting with Joe Biden right now. Back to the 70s, return to the 70s. Biden's clearly following Jimmy Carter's advice on how to be a one-term socialist failure. So what happened in the 1970s that made them so bad? I wasn't born yet, so I don't actually remember. But my father does, and Mr. Johnson joins us in just a few minutes to tell us what the 70s was really like. But here's an important reminder. When we say the 70s, we're not talking about this. Yes. Yeah. We're talking about something higher than John Travolta's pants there. The cost of a dollar going down. The value of a dollar going down, the value of inflation going up. For those of you younger viewers who don't know your history, this is what I mean by the 1970s. Hyperinflation, skyrocketing interest rates, a crumbling dollar, a Middle East in chaos, racial division, and massive gas lines. Does that sound familiar? Just look out your window. We're here. Joe Biden just created time travel. Great Scott! And here are the 4 leading data indicators that we are heading directly back to the 1970s. 1, the economy is collapsing. Biden had one of the most devastating job reports in American history. It was so bad it took the breath away from even his most boot-licking sycophants. On CNBC, the anchor reading the April jobs numbers was so horrified by them that he thought they were a typo. Watch this.
The number here just came across. Sorry about that. It came across very quickly here. It looks like 266,000.
Ooh.
It looks like it was a big disappointment at 266.
There you go.
But maybe I have that wrong. Let me double check the Bureau website here.
Is it a typo? Are the numbers so bad it's a typo?
Yes, 266 is correct.
What are you telling me,
CNBC? Little change is 6.1%.
Ooh, look at the pain and suffering in the eyes. The sadness. You can see the life leaving their body. Here is an arch-liberal host, by the way, Jim Cramer, on that same network in 2019, talking about Donald Trump.
You can't contradict that these are the best numbers of our lives.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, we had guns and butter when we were doing these things 50 years ago, and that followed with inflation and recession. I don't see inflation. I don't see recession. 50 years ago, that number was a curse. Now it's a blessing. And you know something, Joe? It doesn't matter whether you hate them or like them. These are real numbers.
Doesn't matter if you hate him or like him. Real numbers. Donald Trump, real results. Joe Biden, those are the real numbers. Joe Biden will never get a clip like that from CNBC. It's always downward now. It's terrible for the rest of us. U.S. unemployment rate in the mid-1970s was at 5.4%. We are now at 6.1% and rising under Joe Biden. Remember, the worst is yet to come. The old Biden adage. Gas shortages and gas lines are the next thing that reminds you of the 1970s. Come again. Look at this footage. Is it from 1971 or 2021? Who can know? The correct answer is actually it's from both. We have gas lines now and skyrocketing gas prices in our country again. Why? The same reason we had them in the 1970s. Incompetent, feeble Democrat command of our infrastructure. When was the last time Joe Biden filled up a tank of gas, by the way? When was the last time Joe Biden touched his own car door handle? These are important questions. Perhaps that's why Joe Biden says insane communist things like this.
We are going to get rid of fossil fuels.
We're going to get rid of fossil fuels? Okay, well, mission accomplished, Joe. Fantastic. Have you looked outside? Have you seen a gas station? I did. Traveling to Newsmax today, I looked at the gas station price, and it was $4 a gallon. Because you refuse to secure our infrastructure, millions of Americans wait in gas lines. I waited in one today. See, here's a photo. See that? $4 gas. Highest national gas price in 7 years in America. Massive inflation is also something that our current era has in common with the 1970s. The rate of inflation was 1.4% in January, 1.4%, while Trump was still president. According to the Consumer Price Index, inflation has surged 4.2% now in April, the highest level in over a decade. Yes, inflation is coming. Commodities like lumber, corn, copper are going insane. If you've bought groceries lately, you know this. The price of Parmesan cheese has gotten so high that Hunter Biden can no longer afford to smoke it. Speaking of crippling drug abuse is the final thing that our era has in common with the 1970s. Now, the 1970s were filled with scumbag drug-using hippies everywhere. They were annoying and they smelled bad, but with the exception of Charles Manson, they didn't really kill anyone. That has all changed in Biden's America. Remember, everything gets worse. Due to Biden's border crisis, there has been a 233% increase in fentanyl seizures at the southern border. More than 36,000 Americans died overdosing in overdoses that involved synthetic opioids in 2019, and that number is rising. These similarities should horrify all Americans, but especially those who cast a vote for Jimmy Carter. You did this to our country. You took us back to the 1970s. Damn you. Shame on you. And great Scott, I swear if you bring back bell bottoms, I'm moving to Greenland. And you want to know how you can be sure that Joe Biden is definitely the next Jimmy Carter? You didn't even realize that I swapped their faces, did you? Ha! Gotcha.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.